Every year on August 15th, India stops to listen. The Prime Minister speaks to the nation from the historic Red Fort in Delhi. This speech is more than just a tradition. It is a moment where the government shares its vision for the future and reflects on the past. On August 18, 2025, we are still talking about the speech given just 3 days ago by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. It was his 12th consecutive address, a long speech filled with promises of new technology, economic reforms, and a stronger military. He spoke of Made in India semiconductor chips and a new defense system called Mission Sudarshan Chakra, painting a picture of a powerful and self-reliant India. The nation listened, as it always does, to these grand announcements. However, amidst all the talk of progress and power, the Prime Minister said something that has started a huge debate across the country. For the first time from the ramparts of the Red Fort, he spoke at length about a very specific organization. He praised the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, or RSS, for its long journey. He called it probably the largest NGO in the world and celebrated its upcoming 100-year anniversary. This was not a small or casual remark. It was a formal acknowledgement from the highest office in the country, given on the most important national day. It immediately made everyone sit up and ask, why now? And what does this mean for India? The mention of the RSS was significant because of its deep and often controversial relationship with the ruling Bharatiya Janata Party, or BJP. The Prime Minister himself has been a member of the RSS for most of his life. For many years, the RSS has called itself a cultural organization, separate from the day-to-day mess of politics. But its critics have always said that it is the real power behind the BJP, an ideological guide that shapes the party's decisions. By bringing the RSS into his official Independence Day speech, Prime Minister Modi has publicly linked his government's identity with the organization's century-long history, making a bold statement to both his supporters and his opponents. This single statement has opened a Pandora's box of questions. What did the Prime Minister mean by calling it an NGO? Is the RSS, an organization with a very specific Hindu nationalist ideology, the same as other non-governmental organizations that work on issues like health, education, and human rights? This praise has sparked a firestorm of discussion in newsrooms, on social media, and in political circles. It forces us to look closer at the RSS, its history, its work, and its true role in modern India. The Prime Minister's words have turned a national celebration into a national debate, and it is a debate that is necessary for the health of our democracy. To understand the debate, we must first understand the organization at its center. What is the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh? Simply put, the RSS was founded in 1925 by Keshav Baliram Hedgewar in Nagpur. Its stated mission is to unite and strengthen the Hindu community to build a strong, unified India, or Akhand Bharat. The organization is known for its disciplined members, called Swayamsevaks, who attend daily meetings in local parks or grounds, known as shakas. During these shakas, they participate in physical exercises, sing patriotic songs, and listen to talks about Indian culture, history, and national pride from a Hindu perspective. The RSS presents itself as a school of character building and selfless service. On the surface, this sounds like a simple cultural group. The RSS says its main work is social service. It often highlights its relief efforts during natural disasters like floods, earthquakes, and cyclones. Its supporters point to these activities as proof of its dedication to the nation, showing how its volunteers are always ready to help people in need, regardless of their background. The organization also runs thousands of schools, hospitals, and other community projects across the country, managed by its many affiliated bodies. This vast network of service is why the Prime Minister likely felt comfortable describing it as a large non-governmental organization, focusing on its charitable and community-building activities that touch millions of lives. However, the story of the RSS is not so simple. For its critics, the RSS is not a cultural body, but a powerful political force with a clear and controversial ideology of Hindutva, or Hindu nationalism. This ideology believes that India is fundamentally a Hindu nation and that its culture should be based on Hindu values. This vision is seen by many as a direct challenge to India's secular constitution, which promises equality for all religions. Critics argue that the RSS's idea of national unity leaves little space for India's large minority populations, especially Muslims and Christians, and that its teachings have often created social and religious divisions in our society. This is where the controversy deepens. The RSS was banned 3 times in its history. The first and most significant ban was in 1948, right after the assassination of Mahatma Gandhi. The government at the time, led by Home Minister Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, believed the organization's ideology of hatred had created the environment that led to Gandhi's murder. Though the ban was later lifted after the RSS gave a written undertaking, this dark chapter has followed it ever since. The organization was also banned during the emergency in 1975 and after the demolition of the Babri Masjid in 1992. This history makes the Prime Minister's praise even more contentious for many citizens. In his long speech from the Red Fort, Prime Minister Modi spoke of the RSS's 100-year journey of nation-building. This is a powerful phrase, suggesting a century of dedicated service to the creation of modern India. However, many historians and opposition leaders were quick to point out what was missing from this praise. The Prime Minister did not provide any specific examples of the RSS's contribution to one of the most important chapters of nation-building, the Indian independence movement. He did not mention any RSS leaders who were imprisoned by the British or any specific protests or campaigns the organization led against colonial rule. This omission was glaring. India's freedom struggle is a story filled with heroes from all walks of life. We remember the names of people who participated in Mahatma Gandhi's Salt March, the Quit India movement of 1942, and the many revolutionary acts against the British Empire. Records from that time show who was arrested, who was exiled, and who gave their lives for the country's freedom. Critics of the RSS, including many respected historians, have long argued that the organization and its leaders chose to stay away from these key moments. They argue that the focus of the RSS at that time was not on fighting the British, but on strengthening the Hindu community internally. This historical context is crucial to the current debate. When the Prime Minister celebrates the RSS's role in nation-building on Independence Day, a day that specifically commemorates our freedom from British rule, the question of its participation naturally arises. Why would an organization dedicated to the nation not actively fight its foreign rulers? Leaders from opposition parties have asked this question directly. They challenge the government to produce documents or historical evidence showing the RSS's role in the freedom struggle. They ask for a list of RSS members who were martyred or jailed by the British for fighting for independence, similar to the lists we have for members of the Congress Party or other revolutionary groups. The RSS and its supporters offer a different perspective. They argue that their form of nation-building was different but equally important. They believe that true freedom would only come when Indian society was strong, united, and free from internal weaknesses like caste division and social decay. In their view, their work of building character and fostering Hindu unity was the real, long-term work of creating a strong nation, a task that was more fundamental than just achieving political independence. However, without concrete evidence of participation in the anti-colonial struggle, the Prime Minister's praise on Independence Day feels to many like an attempt to rewrite history and place the RSS at the center of a story where it was largely absent. The Prime Minister's decision to call the RSS the world's largest NGO becomes even more complicated when we look at his government's own actions towards other NGOs. Since 2014, the Modi government has been accused of a systematic crackdown on the non-governmental sector in India. Thousands of NGOs have had their licenses cancelled under the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act, or FCRA. This law controls the flow of foreign money to Indian organizations. The government has argued that this action was necessary to stop organizations that were using foreign funds for anti-national activities, which could harm India's economic progress and internal security. This has created a climate of fear and uncertainty for many genuine social organizations. Groups working on environmental protection, human rights, and social justice have found themselves under intense scrutiny. Organizations like Greenpeace India, Amnesty International and many others have faced government investigations, frozen bank accounts, and public accusations of working against the national interest. Many of these NGOs have had to shut down their operations or severely reduce their work, leaving a large gap in civil society. The government's message has been clear: only certain kinds of social work are welcome, while work that questions or challenges government policies is viewed with suspicion. This is why the Prime Minister's praise for the RSS as an NGO sounds ironic to many. On one hand, the government is tightening the rules for thousands of small and large organizations, demanding complete transparency and questioning their motives. On the other hand, it is celebrating an organization, the RSS, which operates with a great deal of secrecy. The RSS is not registered as an NGO under Indian law. It does not file detailed financial reports for public viewing, and it is not clear how it is funded or how it spends its money. If any other organization operated with this level of opacity, it would likely face serious questions from the government. This apparent double standard has become a major point of criticism. How can one organization be praised as the world's largest NGO while thousands of others are being systematically weakened? Critics argue that the government is redefining what an NGO is. In this new definition, an NGO is acceptable only if its ideology aligns with that of the ruling party. An organization that supports the government's vision of the nation is a nation builder, while an organization that raises uncomfortable questions is an anti-national element. This selective approach threatens the very idea of a free and diverse civil society, where different groups can work for the public good without fear of political pressure. After the Prime Minister's speech, the political opposition, wasted no time in responding. They didn't just stop at criticism, they went a step further and issued a very pointed challenge. Congress Party spokesperson Pawan Khera held a press conference where he asked some pretty direct questions. He said, "If the RSS is indeed the world's largest NGO, then it should behave like one. Where is its registration certificate? Can it show us its financial records? Does it have an FCRA license to accept donations from abroad?" These questions, honestly, cut to the core of the matter. They highlight the fundamental difference between the RSS and a legally recognized non-governmental organization. This challenge, at its heart, is about accountability and transparency. In India, any organization that collects money from the public, whether it's called an NGO, a trust, or a society, is expected to follow certain rules. It has to be registered with the government, maintain proper accounts, and get its finances audited. These records, more often than not, are open for public scrutiny. The idea is simple: to make sure that money collected for social service is actually used for that purpose, not for personal gain or, anything illegal. By demanding these documents, the opposition is basically implying that the RSS operates outside this system of public accountability. Pawan Khera didn't stop there. He made a political promise as well. He said that if the opposition's India bloc comes to power, they'll make sure the RSS is forced to register as a legal entity. This, he claimed, would compel the organization to make its membership, finances and activities transparent to the public. He even gave the RSS a new name, calling it the Rashtriya Sandigdha Sangathan, or the National Suspicious Organization. That kind of sharp language really shows just how politicized this issue has become. The opposition is framing the debate not just around what happened in the past, but around legal and financial propriety today. This demand for transparency isn't exactly new, but the Prime Minister's speech has given it a fresh urgency. For decades, the RSS has existed in a sort of unique space, very powerful and influential, but not formally accountable like a political party or a registered NGO. It doesn't have an official president or elected office bearers in the usual sense. Instead, it's led by a Sasang Chalak, or chief guide, who is chosen by his predecessor. By calling it an NGO, the Prime Minister may have, perhaps unintentionally, given his critics a strong new argument to demand that the RSS finally open its books and step out of the shadows. The RSS, for as long as anyone can remember, has always insisted that it's a cultural organization, not a political one. According to its own claims, its main goal is to revive Indian culture and build the character of its citizens. steering clear of the day-to-day business of elections and government. But, if we look at its actions over the years, the story seems a bit different. The lines between the cultural work of the RSS and the political work of the BJP are often so blurred that it's hard to tell them apart. Many of India's top political leaders, like Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Home Minister Amit Shah, and Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, actually began their public lives as full-time RSS workers, or prakaraks. If you look at news reports from almost every major election in the last 10 years, there's clear evidence of the RSS's deep political involvement. During election season, its vast network of Swayamsevaks turns into a powerful electoral machine for the BJP. They're known for quiet, door-to-door campaigns and small drawing room meetings to persuade voters. Even if they aren't wearing a BJP badge, their message is always the same: vote for the party that protects Hindu interests. The RSS has never really denied these reports of providing silent help to the BJP. This kind of direct participation in electioneering makes it very tough to accept the claim that it's just a cultural body. On top of that, the RSS has been known to influence government policy directly. Its leaders frequently meet with BJP ministers and government officials to discuss key issues. Things like the construction of the Ram Temple in Ayodhya, the abrogation of Article 370 in Kashmir, and the push for a uniform civil code are all central to the RSS's ideology, and they've become major policy goals for the BJP government. This kind of close coordination suggests that the RSS isn't just a cultural guide, but an active partner in governance, shaping the nation's laws and policies according to its worldview. That's why, honestly, calling it an NGO is so confusing. NGOs are supposed to be non-partisan. They might advocate for certain policies, but they're not meant to function as the undeclared wing of a political party. The RSS, however, acts as the ideological parent of the BJP. Its main role seems to be creating a supportive social and cultural environment for the BJP's political project. By praising it as a service-oriented NGO, the Prime Minister is, in a way, asking the public to ignore this very political role. A role that's well documented and visible to anyone who follows Indian politics closely. Politics, as we all know, is a complicated game, and sometimes words carry meanings that aren't obvious at first glance. Some political analysts have actually come up with a very different interpretation of the Prime Minister's speech. They believe that by calling the RSS an NGO, PM Modi wasn't just praising it, but also sending a subtle, maybe even strategic message to its leadership. According to this theory, the Prime Minister might be, gently reminding the RSS of its place. The message is, your role is that of a social service organization, a very large one, but your domain is society, not government. Leave the politics and the running of the country to me and my elected government. This interpretation comes at a time when there have been quiet rumors about a growing distance between the Prime Minister's office and the RSS headquarters in Nagpur. After the BJP's performance in the 2024 general election, where it didn't secure a full majority on its own, some RSS leaders were reportedly concerned about the party's direction. By defining the RSS as an NGO, PM Modi could be asserting his own authority, making it clear that while he respects the organization's social work, he won't tolerate interference in his political decisions. It's a way of thanking them for their support, but also drawing a clear boundary. Adding to this speculation is the unusual silence from the RSS itself. Normally, such high praise from the Prime Minister would be met with a warm statement from the RSS chief, Mohan Bhagwat. But in the days after the speech, there was no official statement at all. This silence has led many to think that the RSS leadership might not be entirely happy with being described as just an NGO. For an organization that sees itself as the nation's conscience and ideological guide, being reduced to the category of a social service group could feel like a demotion. This possible rift highlights the delicate balance of power between the BJP and the RSS. The BJP depends on the RSS's dedicated cadre for electoral success, but as the party and its leader grow more powerful, they may want more independence. The Prime Minister, now in his third term, probably feels secure enough to chart his own course. All of this makes his NGO comment a masterstroke of political communication. To his supporters, it's a tribute. To the general public, it presents the RSS in a soft, positive light. And to the RSS leadership, it could be a polite but firm reminder of its limits. So where does that leave us, the citizens of India? We're faced with a really complex set of conflicting ideas. On one hand, we've got the Prime Minister using the national stage on Independence Day to praise an organization for a century of service, calling it the world's largest NGO. He paints a picture of a patriotic, service-oriented body that's all about building a strong nation. Millions of its members and supporters genuinely believe in this mission, and they point to its extensive social work as proof of its good intentions. For them, the RSS is a force for national good. On the other hand, there's the opposition, as well as historians and civil liberties activists, who present a very different view. They point to the RSS's controversial ideology of Hindu nationalism, its absence from the freedom struggle, its overt involvement in politics, and its history of being banned for allegedly spreading communal hatred. They question its lack of legal and financial transparency, and accuse the government of hypocrisy for praising it while cracking down on other NGOs. For them, the RSS is a divisive force that threatens the secular fabric of India, and calling it an NGO is, in their eyes, a dangerous distortion of the truth. The reactions from journalists and authors really reflect this deep divide. Some have written articles supporting the Prime Minister's view, celebrating what they see as the mainstream acceptance of an organization they feel has been unfairly maligned. Others, like the authors of several critical books on the RSS, people like Shamsul Islam and Ashok Kumar Pandey, warn that this is a step towards normalizing an ideology fundamentally at odds with the Indian constitution. They urge readers to actually study the writings of the RSS's own ideologues like MS Golwalkar to understand its real vision for India. In the end, the real question isn't just whether it's right to call the RSS an NGO. The bigger issue is about how we, as citizens, should make our own informed decisions. Should we just accept the version of history and reality presented by those in power, or should we keep asking tough questions? Should an organization's good deeds like disaster relief make us overlook its controversial ideology? Is it possible for a group to be both a cultural organization and a political powerhouse? Before we form a final opinion, maybe it's our duty to read more, listen to all sides, and demand transparency and accountability from every organization that claims to work in the nation's name.